would like to begin this video by saying thank you so much for 5,000 subscribers. I really appreciate all of you who are interested enough to click that button, so thank you so much. And I would also like to say that throughout this season of American Horror Story, I have reviewed every episode honestly and according to my opinion. And I say this in every video, but opinions are subjective. So all I'm going to say is I will continue to review these episodes honestly, and if I honestly have a positive reaction, then my review will be positive, and vice versa. Okay, so let's begin with the review, and then I'll go into theories. Timestamps are in the pinned comments as always. In my opinion, American Horror Story Apocalypse has redeemed itself, and for that, I am eternally grateful. This episode is a great first part of the finale, and I can see the finale being strong. And I do hope they extend the runtime like they did with Return to Murder House for the finale, but I do have faith that this finale won't be rushed, and may actually turn out good. I think sometimes American Horror Story stumbles towards the end, and I hope they got their stumble out of the way with episode 8, so 9 and 10 can be strong. Episode 8's nails look like this, so episode 9 and 10's can look like this. This episode really brought it for me.
You really brought it!
It explained the cooperative effectively and interestingly. It brought the emotions, with 80% of the coven being slaughtered at the hands of Michael and Ms. Mead, and I think it was gritty and unnerving at times. This episode had a similar short runtime as the last episode, but this episode utilized its limited amount of time wisely. It kept us in touch with every group in this season. It bounced from the coven to Ms. Mead and Michael, and to Venable and the Bowl Cuts. Side note, Venable and the Bowl Cuts sounds like an amazing band name. Feel free to use it. But in contrast to last episode, where we only followed Michael and his journey to the bowl cuts, I felt like this episode of Apocalypse was an actual episode of Apocalypse, but still managed to handle the new characters and information. I'm not going to continue to compare it to episode 8 because you already know how I feel about episode 8, so let's focus on episode 9. This episode was great in my opinion. The momentum has picked right back up and the speeding car is moving full steam ahead towards the finale. Bubbles McGee's last moments were so good, and I wish we could have seen more of that character. Joan Collins better join season 9 because to me she fits in this American Horror Story universe perfectly. The scene where Cordelia is in the dream state and can't feel the souls of Zoe and Queenie and everyone was heartbreaking. Then when Madison tells Delia how Michael can erase souls and Delia slaps Madison, that was very well done in my opinion. Cordelia feels helpless and is losing herself, and that scene was great at illustrating that. When Mallory can't save Olga was also a really powerful performance on Billy Lord's part, and I think this episode did such a great job at showing this group, the Coven, who is normally at the top of the food chain, being diminished to just 5 witches who all seem just short of being powerful enough to stop their enemy. The direction at the hands of Jennifer Arnold was outstanding. It may even be the most well-directed episode of this season in my opinion. This is Jennifer Arnold's first episode of American Horror Story that she's directed, but she's directed a couple of handfuls of episodes from other television shows. The writing was also great, so hats off to Asha Michelle Wilson. And from my research, this is the first episode Asha has written of anything. But she's been a writer's assistant on American Horror Story since Cult, and she was also a writer's assistant on Scream Queens. But nonetheless, she did a great job. I love this episode. I don't think I have anything bad to say. Of course, as I rewatch, I can probably start nitpicking and finding flaws. However, first impressions-wise, this is a powerful and outstanding episode of the season, and I'm so happy with it. I give this episode 10 Michael Langdons out of 10. Now, before I move on to theories, I would like to thank my patrons. It's the Fashion Killa, Kinky Kitty, Jesse Reel, Keiki Art, Liz Dunham, and Justin Quaranta. If you would like to become a patron, visit patreon.com/RyanMurphyverse, and you can look at all the tiers and different rewards for each tier. Anyway, let's move on to theories. This first theory comes from Evan Peters is hot 1 on Reddit. And they say, just thought of something after watching this episode. The only people chosen to be at Outpost 3 were Emily and Timothy. The Voodoo Queen was there because she helped him kill the witches, and therefore the son and the boyfriend. Coco and Mallory were also there clearly because of the identity spell, and I have a feeling Coco's dad was a part of the Illuminati. So this would confirm the theories that Emily and Timothy being Adam and Eve, and probably their backstory will be tied to Roanoke or something. And then someone replies and says Michael was surprised to see Dinah in the outpost, and she wasn't under an identity spell, so we don't know how or why she got there. She probably bought tickets, to be honest, $100 million a ticket ticket, and they basically say she made money from the television show, so that also makes sense. Okay, so what I think of this theory is there definitely has to be something with Emily and Timothy, because everybody else makes sense why they're there, even Dinah, because she's rich. I know Emily and Timothy haven't been brought up since like episode 3, but there still has to be something with them because it would just make no sense to start that storyline about how they're chosen and have perfect DNA and then just leave it. I definitely think something along the lines of this will be explored in the finale, and if not, Emily and Timothy will end up being a really weird dropped plotline. I have a whole video about how I think Emily connects to Roanoke, so if you want to check that out, I still think it still stands, so you can check it out. This next theory is from Miss LV Green on Reddit, and they say, if Mallory travels back in time and stops Michael from ever existing, we can have Queenie and Zoe back. And Delia can make sure Queenie never goes to the Cortez, and I think that's why they did the whole Romanov segment, to set up Mallory, making it so this never happened. I do think this is very true. I do think Mallory will use her time travel abilities to stop the apocalypse from happening, whether it be stop Michael from ever being born or whatever route they go with. But this also seems like an obvious setup that was made in this episode, so they could completely be trying to throw us off from what they're really going to do, and they do nothing like this. But I think this is probably the route they're going to go with. This next theory is from Hello Sad Robot on Reddit. They say, imagine Misty in next week's episode coming back to the house and seeing all the dead bodies. That's probably why she looks so depressed. Hope they don't make her do anything stupid like killing herself. So I think the one line mention of Misty being like frolicking with Stevie Nicks wherever she is in this episode, I hope it wasn't just a throwaway line to explain why Lily Rabe couldn't be on set for for like more than one episode. But if she does return in this next episode, I do think it'll be really depressing because Misty is such a pure soul. I don't know if she could handle all of that. If they do just ignore Misty's involvement with the rest of the season, I mean, that'd be kind of dumb, but I can overlook it because there's so many plot lines they have dangling right now. As long as they resolve it effectively and intelligently, I will be fine with a few drop plot lines. This next theory comes from Rapsel79 on Reddit. They say, the whole Illuminati stuff makes me think my theory about this whole apocalypse being misdirection seem even more likely. I feel like we are going to find out that Michael has been playing everyone, and the real apocalypse is happening as this fake one plays out. He and Satan are using these moronic and cliche Satan worshippers as cover for the real agenda, which involves not bombs, but babies. Perfect DNA babies. I'm thinking everything is intentional. Everything. Even Anton Levy and Pepper's Satan follower not being. Those three in the murder house are the only real true followers, and while Meade has been helping Michael, they've been off doing his business undercover. Okay, this is an interesting theory. I think that'd be a really interesting twist if Michael really isn't using these nuclear bombs as the apocalypse, and his plan is something deeper and goes behind the backs of everyone who he's trusting, and like he only knows the plan. I think that'd be a really interesting twist, but I'm not sure how exactly they would explain this or do it, but if they did go this route, I think it would make for a really interesting finale. Since the bombs were revealed in episode 1, it would make sense that a curveball would be thrown at us so we don't just expect the bombs to drop and that's the apocalypse. Either way, I think it's effective, so I'm excited to see what route they go for this finale. Let me know in the comments what you think they'll do in the finale. And yeah, that's all I have for this week's video. Let me know in the comments what you think of these theories. What did you think of this episode? Do you think it was as good as I thought it was, or do you think my opinions are trash like you did last week? Just kidding. The response was overwhelmingly positive. There was just, the 13% that didn't like my opinions were very vocal about it. That's fine. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you please. Thank you for watching. Bye.